Hi, folks. Steve Urban here, founder and CEO at recruiting firm Riderflex. If you enjoyed today's guest interview, please give it a like and be sure to subscribe to the Riderflex podcast. And now, a quick word from our sponsor.
Try the #1 marketing platform for small business. Everything you need from design to marketing to CRM. Learn more at marketing360.com. Marketing 360. Fuel your brand. Try the #1 marketing platform for small business. Everything you need from design to marketing to CRM. Learn more at marketing360.com. Marketing 360. Fuel your brand.
How are you, Kim? Welcome to the Riderflex podcast.
I am glad to be here, Steve. Thanks so much for having me. Doing great.
Where are you at today? Idaho?
We are about 45 minutes east of Boise, Idaho, near the Oregon border. So we live in the Snake River Valley, overlooking like a beautiful valley near the Snake River. Mm-hmm. And then we have offices in our mailing address is in Meridian, but we have offices in Nampa, Idaho. So little small town vibe, but we like it.
Beautiful area.
Yeah.
You know, interestingly enough, the very first, what I would call dispersed kind of non-paid campsite that my wife and I ever stayed at was on the Snake River.
Oh,
and
nice.
that hooked us. I mean, we became campers after that. We were like, wow, this is cool.
Yeah. It's the river is 10 minutes from our house driving. You can see it from our back patio, but just going down to the river and there's petroglyphs down there and just walking by there's some peace and serenity that I find just being connected to the earth. And I love the fact that it's so close. Anytime I need a little hit, I head out there and sit on the pier, and it's wonderful.
Now you just need to keep people out. Nobody needs to move there. By the way,
everything we conversation. Yeah, forget it. It's terrible here.
Yeah, it's terrible there. Tell me about your family. Where mom, dad, siblings, where you grew up, all that good stuff.
So I was born in Seattle, Washington, moved around a lot when I was a small child. My parents divorced when I was young. And my father was an entrepreneur. Actually, he was a headhunter back in those days. That's what the terminology headhunter. Yeah. And so I was raised by a single mom, myself and my brother. Moved around quite a bit, lived with family, and it was a very disheveled childhood with a lot of changing in schools and things of that nature. And I knew that from that experience, I wanted to grow up and control my my surroundings and my financial future and all of that. So from that, I learned a lot. I mean, it wasn't a bad experience by any stretch of the imagination. It was just diverse and required me to be able to think on my feet and adapt quickly, get along with many different types of people in many different parts of the country. So it was good. Wound up spending a lot of time in Florida, spent many decades as an adult in Colorado, and love Colorado, and just moved out to Idaho about 4 years ago. Myself and my husband, between the two of us, we have 6 kids, 10 grandkids.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. Oh, so it's your second marriage?
Yeah. I was married for 27 years to the father of my 3 children. I see. And after a 25-year period, decided that we were just not at all growing in the same direction. And it was an amicable situation. It was not at all a dramatic, terrible situation. And everyone, the family is still very close and all of that. But it was worth it. I met my husband currently a couple of years thereafter, and we're very I've got him something when we first started dating. It's never too late to live happily ever after. So that's kind of what we're doing right now. Yeah.
Are all the kids grown?
Yes. Everyone is grown. Everyone is on their own. Various industries, kind of all over, mostly still in Colorado though. So we head back every year for at least a week to make the rounds, put about 1,000 miles on a rental car, cruising around the state, seeing everybody. So yeah, it's a lot
Nobody,
of fun.
so no kids at home right now.
Actually, we have our 14-year-old granddaughter with us. She moved
Wow.
to Idaho during COVID because of some of the things that were going on in Colorado just weren't really good for her with school. And so she came out here and she's thriving and loving it out here. So yeah, so we're doing that
Is
all
it,
over again.
is she, is there problems with the parents, or her and her parents not getting along? Is there some sort of battle going
No,
on? No. Oh, okay.
no, it was more so the regulatory
Okay.
things
Okay.
that were happening in Colorado during that period. So it was much healthier for her to be here.
When you met your husband, your current husband, were the kids already out of the house, or you guys had the little Brady Bunch action going on there at first? What was the timeline? I'm
I
curious.
still had the youngest daughter at home. So we met
One
when
daughter.
she
I see.
was, yeah, when she was in high school. So we did get to do some fun family thing, and we still do. She moved out here with us, so we still are having fun with her. But yeah, so
Okay.
not the Brady Bunch thing. I admire people that can pull that together. That's
You got
quite
that right.
quite a challenge.
You got that right. Have you had all 6 kids with their spouses to Idaho where you live in now? Have you had them all together? I know it's very difficult to do.
No, it is, and it's a lot easier for us to plunk ourselves in Colorado.
Yeah.
And we have a we stay like in Monument, and we've got people in Denver, we've got people in Colorado Springs, so we're right along the highway, and we just zigzag back and forth.
It's very difficult when your kids get older. My wife and I have 4 together. Same thing. We were both married once before. She had 2 and I had 2. Very difficult to get all grown children together at the same time. It's just super hard. So for anybody listening, if you have grown children and you can get them in the same house, including the spouses and grandkids, like all together, I mean, hey, God bless you. I mean, it's hard to do.
It is
very difficult to do. Let me ask you, how old were you when the parents divorced when you were a kid? You said you were young. Were you like 3, 4, 5? Like, what are you talking about here?
I think I was like 10. I think I
Okay.
was 10 or
Ooh,
11.
man. Ooh, that's
Yeah.
tough. That's tough. That shaped you a little bit, huh?
It did, but during the time I was glad that it happened, because it wasn't a
A
happy
good situation.
environment.
I see.
Yeah. But, you know, being a child, I did not realize the economic ramifications of that.
Right.
And, you know, back in the day, my mom was like a secretary.
I see.
She didn't make very much money. And so that was a challenge. I saw her working so hard for us. And so, you know, a lot of lessons learned, because you're paying attention when you're a child and you don't understand completely what's going on or what is going to shape you.
Yes.
And it did. So yeah.
Were you close to your dad?
I was for a period of time. I was always very intrigued and interested in running my own business. He would take me to work with him sometimes, and he had an office with big desks and all kinds of cool stuff. And as a little kid, I thought that was really cool and fun.
Okay.
But then after they got divorced, we moved around a lot, and we really didn't have a whole lot of contact with one another.
Is your dad still alive?
He is still alive, but we still are not very much in communication with one another.
This is the time. Now is the time, Kim. When's the last time you reached out to him and said, "Hey, Dad, let's reconcile"? What's holding you back? What's holding you back?
I don't need that toxicity in my life. I think there's a point where you're like, yeah, you know, I don't think I need that.
You know, I had this recruiter. I had this recruiter that worked for me one time. Great girl. And we had a psycho client that she was dealing with. And she calls me up and she goes, you know, I just don't need that experience in my life right now. And that was one of the best lines. We use that line now at Riderflex all the time. Like, we still use it. Like, if we get a bad client or a bad vendor, we're like, you know, I just don't need that experience in my life right now.
Well, yeah. And that's one of the reasons, I think, for being in business for yourself, is that you reach a point where you can do that, because and the terminology is, oh, it's just not a good fit. It's just not a good fit. That means you're crazy and I'm just not interested in dealing with this anymore. You know, but it's the politically correct way to
it totally is. One more couple of more questions on your family there before we get into personal. Is your brother, is he around? You close to him?
He is in Jacksonville, Florida. So when we go visit
I see.
the moms are in Florida and New Orleans. We make the
Both moms.
rounds and
Your
see
current.
him.
I see. So both moms. I
Yeah,
see. I see.
yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah. My mom is in Florida and my husband's mom is in New Orleans. So we just make a southern trip down there. But he's in Jacksonville. He's been in there for many years. He is an IT guy who does very, very high end engineering. He was the one that was very, very logical and very, very conservative and very, very, by the book, step by step.
Oh,
And I'm the
really?
one that would just like go flying off the, oh, let's
Were
give
you the
this a
rebel?
try. And
Were you the rebel in high school? Would you get in trouble? You partied a lot? What's the high school story for you?
I never really fit in with any specific group. I floated around
That's a good thing.
every group. So,
I think
the
that's a good thing.
jocks, the nerds, but I never really felt that I fit in with, oh, well, this is my tribe. This is my group. There never really was that because I kind of floated around. So rebel. Yeah. Because I was super over it before I got out of school. I love learning. I read
Okay. Okay.
voraciously. I love any educational, anything, documentaries. I mean, I'm constantly educating myself, but school was not the place to do that for me. I started my education after I got out of school, and I was very fortunate because the timing, the information age and the readily available data, information, educational resources were just starting to become more available online.
I don't see.
So,
Did you go to school for your bachelor's? I don't see that on your LinkedIn.
nope, I did not.
I see.
I got straight out and started various entrepreneurial ventures. So,
How about that?
I
Okay.
sold advertising space in the publishing industry. I did a number of things before launching the medical device firm that I founded. But I was always very intrigued with doing things better. How can we do this better? Let's create an organization to help do that.
Plus, you had the entrepreneurial bug in there from your early days with your dad. Kind of that seed was in there. Did you get married right out of high school? Did you have kids young?
I had my oldest daughter when I was 24. So no,
Oh, okay.
not right
Oh,
out,
oh,
but
okay.
shortly thereafter.
Okay. And you founded your first company. Let's talk about it. This is the medical device. Talk to me about that. And was your husband, your first husband, was he a co-founder or what happened there?
He was actually, I drug him in after things started kind of taking off. I was really looking for something because we had two of our three children at that time.
Okay.
And I was very much looking for something that I could be flexible and be at home, but create my own destiny type of thing. And through
Okay.
serendipitous events, we ran across a technology that was in rudimentary form in light therapy. It was something that had studies behind it. It had data behind it, but it didn't have any structure, business model, marketing, or anything like that. So we came across the owner, became very good friends with her, and we then licensed it out and grew that business to about a $20 million enterprise over a 8-year period.
Wow. This was light force therapy?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. $20 million business. How about that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was a rocket ship ride. It was a $20 million education. Eventually that business did implode as a result of just the direction that we took. I mean, it's quite a roller coaster of a story, but it was foundational for me to then pivot to what I did afterwards and what we're doing now.
So no big exit where you made somebody offered you $100 million for it. No, nothing like that.
That was the objective. Actually, I turned down. I turned down. Oh my gosh, we all have those moments. I turned down a contract from someone who wanted to license the product from us after we had, I don't even know where we were, maybe like at 2 million or something like that. And he was going to offer us $250,000 a month at a minimum. Like he would have to give us at least that. And then he was going to take all distribution, retail globally. And our investors didn't want that. And because they had the ability to do that and they thought we'll just do it on our own. And although I had controlling interest in the company, I thought that the guys who had already created a $300 million company knew more than I did about this particular project. That wound up being incorrect. I should have taken that deal. I should have taken that deal because that would have given us the cash flow that we needed to overcome the storms that were heading our direction.
I see.
So lessons learned. I mean, I take responsibility for the decisions that were made. I was at the helm, but there's a lot of
Yeah.
a lot of factors involved in a
Was your
manufacturing
marriage,
business.
was your marriage crumbling then as well? Or what was the timeline? Is that the same timeline or no?
It wasn't. It wasn't. It was a stressful situation, most definitely,
Okay. I
because
didn't
of
know
how
that.
quick. But no, that wasn't the cause or the reason or
Okay.
anything. It was quite a bit of time after that.
Okay. So what happened? You just shut the business down? 2004?
Yes.
All right. And then you're sitting at home having a glass of wine going, what the hell do I do now?
Yeah, it was actually quite the thing that made it so painful was that I really did think that that was one of the reasons why I was here on this planet, was to
see.
help this technology become a household, because it was using light to relieve pain. It was incredibly effective. There were no side effects. And for people with chronic pain, they're in desperate need of something to help. And I was very, very passionate about helping those people. And we did. I mean, we helped tens of thousands of people all over the world. But a lot of when you throw your hat into that arena, there's a lot of people with a lot more money that aren't interested in having something non-pharmaceutical relieve pain. So
But I
it was
understand.
quite a
But I understand the emotional attachment around, you thought that was your purpose. Like that was your purpose or
yeah.
your core purpose
Yeah,
in
yeah.
life. And then all of a sudden you're like, well, damn, okay. What's my purpose? I see.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, it
That's
was.
all right.
Yeah. Yeah. But it
Mm.
was the path then that led to starting to write about things and just get connected through LinkedIn, just in a very, there was no plan behind it. There was no objective behind it. I just started writing and sharing things,
Blogs, comments, posts, whatever.
articles, a lot of articles. The algorithms at that time were really beautiful. And things changed so much. I've been very good at like seeing what's coming up and what's going to be the thing, and everybody else is like, a year later they figure it out. So we're lucky that we can ride those. It used to be, if you did articles on Pulse, and then if someone Googled your name, I mean, if I had, when you Googled my name at that point, like the three first pages of Google were all my articles from LinkedIn. It was amazing what that did. It no longer does that, but that was quite powerful. So we were able to ride.
What year were you starting to do this? And at that time, were you just trying to market yourself or were you starting a business yet?
I wasn't marketing myself. I wasn't starting a business. I wasn't doing anything. I was just sharing
Okay.
what I had learned.
Gotcha.
I was sharing insights. I literally had no structure behind it at all. But what wound up happening is people would want my advice about social media marketing for business. That's how it segued into that.
I see. All right. All right. And how are you living right there? Like I know everybody's like, okay, well, how'd she live? Would you eat ramen noodles with the kids every night? You ran out of cat.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it wasn't great. I mean, I fortunately my husband was able to segue into a sales job that was good for us.
Okay. Got it.
But was it a desirable situation? No,
Yeah.
absolutely
Okay.
not. It would have been much better if it were something that I was being compensated for the eyeballs that I was generating for LinkedIn. This is pre-Microsoft though. So this is before Microsoft purchased, and actually LinkedIn reached out to me before that. Oh, what was that? They told me that there were like 300 engineers working on the app. It was before the app. And they reached out and said something about, I don't know, the encouraging me to write more, encouraging me to do more.
Interesting.
Yeah, they did that and they do that often. Like people who are influential, they'll reach out to be involved in various programs that they're running or whatever. But that was before the purchase, and then come to find out, like a year later, boom, the purchase happens. So what were they doing? They were trying to generate more, get everybody really in a frenzy to attract as many eyeballs as they could before going up for sale.
Now this is an interesting time in your life. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm trying to kind of envision this. You had wrapped up that company. You're writing and sharing on LinkedIn. That's starting to get traction, but that's not making you any money yet. Your husband's got this sales job, which is kind of paying the bills, but it's not the life that you used to have. You're thinking to yourself, okay, I'm gaining followers and I like sharing, but this ain't paying me anything. What am I going to really do with my life? I'm not sure. Meanwhile, my husband's getting on my nerves. That's starting to crumble a little bit. Am
You
I
got
close?
it. Yeah, that was pretty good. Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Okay.
Yep. And
And
then,
then
and then
what?
that
Then what
segued,
happens? Yeah.
then that segued to a digital marketing company called Common Sense Health,
I see.
where we specialized in helping health and wellness organizations present themselves online. And that was in Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, through everywhere. And because I still had that passion for, and I still
I
do
see.
have that
I
passion
see.
for healthcare and alternative
Okay.
healthcare and things of that nature. So that is what segued then into people actually paying me for my knowledge.
Got it. All right. And
Yeah,
did your first husband have ownership in commonsensehealth.org?
he did not.
Oh, it's just yours. Great. Okay, good move.
Yeah.
So now you own, was that what you would call a marketing agency? What was the
Yep.
definition? Okay. So all
A
right. And you
digital,
did,
a digital marketing agency, strictly digital. Yeah.
all right. And now you're making money. Clients are paying you.
It was, yes. And it was going well, but it was not, you know how you can look back on what you did and say, oh my gosh, how cute it was that I did it this way. It was not nearly as structured. It was haphazard
Okay.
in terms of a
Okay.
of a business structure. I was counting on people coming to me rather than me having something built in for outreach.
All right. Plus you're trying to raise three boys. By the way, I didn't ask you. Oh, yeah. Or let's see. What was it?
Two girls and a boy. So
Yeah,
between the two of us, it's 3 boys and 3 girls.
Yeah. Okay. You're raising the kids. All right. So then what happened? Yeah. So, but you're gaining traction, you're gaining followers, you're learning, you're sharing, you're following your passion of wanting to help people, especially in the health and wellness space. All right. And then what happens? Why? Talk to me.
So then I started getting a lot more notoriety on LinkedIn. So
Yeah.
then I would have people ask if I could speak at events talking about how I did what I did at LinkedIn. I would have
You're
people
like,
asking
cool.
me, yeah, like,
Okay.
what?
So,
Are you going to
what?
pay me
Somebody,
for that? You're going to fly me out? And all right. Okay. I can do that.
I love that. That's good. Let's just take a pause right there. The very first time somebody called you and said, hey, we want to pay you to talk to us about how you got big on LinkedIn. You're like, okay, well, this is
Yeah.
a new revenue stream.
I'm like,
Okay.
how much should I
Yes.
charge? What should I don't even know. How do I lay this out? So that, like the typical me, I research the heck out of everything. And then I have to know every single detail about every single thing before I do it. And, but that really was the segue.
Your friends are like, you're telling me, like, I'm going to fly somewhere to teach people how to use LinkedIn. And they're like, what? Well, what are you talking? You get paid for that?
Yeah. Well,
so
you know what? The thing though is,
so good.
I like to interweave my personal experience. Like that particular event was a women's empowerment event.
Okay.
So for women in business, what is the fastest route between where you are and where you want to be? Well, it's the people within your network, right? It always is that. So what if you had the ability to reach out globally rather than just in a 30-mile radius or whatever? So that's kind of the angle that it took. And I've got to say, even with what we do now is partially, yes, we do this thing that creates this, this service that creates this result. But ultimately, it is helping these business owners really drill down into what it is they're offering and what it is they're doing. So it's kind of a, there's a psychological aspect, which I'm sure is with what you do as well, big time, right? You need to be able to understand where people are coming from. So it wasn't exclusively just, hey, teach us about LinkedIn. It's more so, teach us about business acumen, teach us about being able to build solid networks globally, teach us, how you pull it all together. How do you do this whole digital marketing outreach thing? Like we've been spammed. We know what that is. How do you do it right? So it was all encompassing.
Yes, and your experience at this point then, right? First of all, you were an entrepreneur, you had a business, you were a CEO, started and stopped a business, then you had the marketing agency, and then you got a huge following on LinkedIn. So now you got a lot of credibility to be able to say, hey, listen, I know what I'm talking about. Look at this
Right.
track record. Yeah, I love that. How did you transition into, talk to us about the birth of Linkability? And by the way, for the listeners, just so we're on the same page here, it's linkability.us,
Correct.
linkability.us.
Yes.
And can you take new followers? I guess you can have followers. You probably, I don't know if you can have connections, but Kim
I
Peterson
can't.
Stone, yeah.
Yeah, I only have like 14,000 connections, and I have
Oh,
like
okay.
230 something thousand followers. So followers you don't control.
I
You
see.
don't control. They need to find you. Connections are like the door is open. Yes, I would like you to be my connection. So I never did those games. You know, a lot of people do games on LinkedIn, and they you know, it's the shiny object syndrome. You know, you do something that accomplishes nothing, and we really aren't interested in that. We're interested in doing things that accomplish something. So in the answer to your question,
237,000 followers. That
mm,
is super impressive. I mean, really,
it
like,
it
wow.
it's powerful in that we are able to tap into that group to
Yes.
ask them what's going on. Like, for example, we do this every year. We'll do a question and answer. You know, what's top of mind? What do you need the most help with? What's going on? And that's very, very powerful to tap into. What we found the
Yes.
beginning of this year is like 75, I think between it's either 75 and 95, I think it was 74% of people were interested in finding new job opportunities for a variety of reasons, many different reasons, but it's powerful. And then, so we launched a newsletter, moving forward back to basics, in January. And within, oh gosh, it was like a couple weeks, there were like 28,000 followers. I think now there's like 40,000 followers. And then we're moving them over to a Substack product, the Moving Forward newsletter, where they can get weekly updates. And then eventually we are going to offer live sessions. So rather than just serving the bigger companies or the mid-sized companies that can pay for monthly marketing or training or whatever, this is going to serve those people who maybe don't have those resources, but do need the help. So we
How
were
about,
able from that followership to ascertain what it is people need and then create the product that meets those needs.
can you give us the 3-minute, whatever, 30,000 foot Linkability? Give it to me. What is Linkability for the listeners
We
that have never heard
we
of it? Go for it.
we are a boutique B2B digital marketing agency. So we help organizations of all sizes or individuals within those organizations accomplish their objectives on LinkedIn. That could be, I want to be a thought leader and speak internationally. I'm launching a book. I am creating a program or starting a company, or I own a company and I need to educate these people and get these people for leads. I need lead generation. I need my profile redone. I want you to help me do an event on LinkedIn. Whatever your objectives are, and most people aren't aware of all of the things that LinkedIn does. They focus exclusively on the feed, and they say, oh gosh, you know, let's do these videos and get on the feed. That's great. That's a part of it.
Yeah.
But that's very difficult to track back down to ROI. And we do the things that absolutely do that.
For
So we
businesses
help
or
people
individuals or both? Businesses,
both.
individuals, both. Okay.
Both, yeah.
Both. All right.
Individuals, entrepreneurs, and entrepreneurs. That's not uncommon at all. So
Okay.
seeing people within a larger organization that have bigger objectives, they're wanting to position themselves. There's a lot of that we do.
Is your most common phone call, hey, I want to get more leads from LinkedIn so I can close more revenue? Is that the most common request?
I think it's interwoven with, we really need to dominate our market. Because if
I
you
see.
don't,
I see.
someone else will. So yes, we need leads, but we also need to be the guys that you go to for XYZ. So sometimes, you know, we will create a hashtag and push that hashtag in conjunction with other things that our clients are doing. Maybe they are attending a trade show. We may reach out to all the attendees on the trade show and say, hey, we're going to be in town, you know, come see us at booth, whatever. Let's meet for coffee. We help amplify and maximize their presence. And nowadays it's quite common. Someone's going to scan your LinkedIn before hopping on a phone call with you
Oh, yeah.
or getting into a meeting with you, right?
Yes.
So it
Yes.
has to be spot on. It's not a resume. It's what are you offering to your potential partner or team member or audience or lead. So in answer to your question, Steve, yes, lead gen is a big part of it, but it's more sophisticated than that. We don't do any automated anything. There's a lot of companies that do automated outreach.
I can't stand them. I can't
So
stand
annoying.
the chat bots and the auto messages.
Yep. It ruins. Think about that. You work 20 years to get your career to where it is, and then you turn it over to a bot and it's destroyed in a couple of days.
I had a guy reach out to me. He reached out and he goes, "Hey, we've created this new chat bot that will talk to the other chat bots, and that way you have a chat bot that talks to other chat." I'm like, "What?"
No,
Like, what
I
are you
had
talking
a
about?
real
Like,
world.
no. I was
I
like,
had
no.
a real world example of a guy I met on LinkedIn, and he's here in Idaho, and we were looking for solar power stuff for our house. And that's an investment. That's not an inexpensive thing, right?
Yeah.
So we have him come out, and he comes out and he measures everything and he gives us a proposal. So he goes through all that effort, coming out, spending an hour doing the proposal, sends me a text. Hey, did you get a chance to look at the proposal? I send him a text back. Yes, I have a question on A, B, C. It's like a $30,000 thing. Just give me some details on this, this.
Yeah.
I'm in a bot. What I get back was, hey, here's an article on why it's so great to have solar on your house.
I hate that.
And hey, and it wasn't just one, it was like
God.
3.
I hate
and
it.
I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. If that's what you think of the time that I've spent with you, yes. I'm so sorry, but out. I blocked him on LinkedIn. I'm like, no, thank you.
I do
People
not
don't understand.
I want the listeners to know I do not answer a single automated message ever. If I even smell that it might be an automated message, you're not getting a response from me.
Right.
I hate it. Okay.
Right.
We could go down this chat, but I don't want to. We could talk 30 minutes on how I hate that. Okay. let me ask. Are you targeting small to mid-size companies? What's your target audience from a company perspective? And then maybe what's your target as an individual, executives, or what's your target?
So we've worked all spectrum. So we've worked with startups, and we've done very well with startups, as well as some of the largest companies in the world. What's more fun, the sweet spot, is definitely people who have the resources to put towards an investment, right? So whether that's a funded startup or an organization that's already making money, to about 200 million. Like 200, after about 200 million, it becomes less fun and more
red
too
tape.
many cooks in the kitchen. It just takes too long. It just is. It's really not that. It's not that fun. So we tend to shy away from those. I really enjoy how really what jazzes me is the types of people that we really help are people who are very accomplished. They are passionate about what they do. They love what they do, and they're focused on that. They are not focused on looking beautiful online at all. They don't care. They haven't done it. And they realize they need to do it.
I see. Gotcha.
But they just don't have the skill set, and they just aren't interested. And so we help them come to exactly. So we help them next level their positioning and do all those digital things that they just don't want to deal with.
So if I have a $5 million, I don't know, small plumbing company, but I don't even have a LinkedIn profile, you can help that person set up an online presence to maybe take the business up another million or 2 or whatever.
Yep, exactly. We do it for individuals. We do it for companies. We can do training within larger organizations. That's generally what works better for those guys. So you can take the sales team and do training for them, or the recruiting team and do training for them. So we do recorded trainings that deals specifically with them. You'll see a lot of people in this space have their course, right? So they have their course, they have their videos that they recorded 6 months ago, but unfortunately they're no longer valid because the machine is changing every single day. And it really depends. If you're in London, LinkedIn will likely be performing differently than if you are in Iowa, because there just are different things that they roll out at different times. And you have to be mindful. So we do the research and the due diligence, and we do training based upon our client specific
Okay.
needs.
Long-term contracts, month to month, or how do I pay?
Month to month. We do have, people like to lock in like 3-6 month chunks just to know they have the space, that they're good. And we prefer at least a 3 month. With typical marketing, you really kind of need to have that 3 month to get up and running, but we don't have long-term contracts. No, we want to be happy working with our clients. So we do need to make sure that it's a good fit for our team. And we want them to be absolutely thrilled with the results. So you don't get that by holding people's feet to the fire with the contracts. We found it just isn't very helpful.
Couldn't agree more. I always tell people, I'm like, listen, here's the deal. It doesn't really matter what the contract says. If you don't want to work with me and I don't want to work with you, it's over.
Right, for sure. And who's gonna pay the money to enforce the contract? I mean,
exactly. What is
come on, it's ridiculous.
Exactly. What? Yeah. Who's going to do that? Okay. Very good. How do you mind sharing how big the company is? How many employees, or what's the size of the organization?
So there are 7 of us total.
Okay.
And there's 4 of us here in Idaho, and everybody else is remote. Everybody's in the States. And people have been with us for years. I mean, we tend not to churn and burn through people. And we are a, the initial pass with Lightforce, the objective was to build it up and scale and sell. The objective here is not.
Is this a lifestyle business? Is this just a lifestyle business?
Well, not lifestyle in that I get up in my pajamas and work 2 hours a day. Not like that. We definitely do the work. So it's definitely not that, but lifestyle, yeah, definitely.
You're not looking to, you're not trying to scale it and sell it or take on a partner or raise cash. You're not in none of that.
No, and that's another thing too. Like, we are very, very we don't do debt. We pay as we go for things. We actually secured office space, 2019, it was the first pandemic year was, and we did the opposite of what everybody else was doing. We actually secured office space, and we love it. I mean, it's fantastic because our internet is more consistent and we have a place to get together and gather. And so that's wonderful. But prior to that, everybody was just working independently. So when everybody went to at home work, we had already been doing that for years. So we were helping our clients kind of segue into that and helping them move forward. That was a very, very busy year. The past 2 years have been very, very busy for us.
Do you have your office now, and are you at the office right now, or at home?
Oh. Yep. At the office now.
Okay. Very good. All right. But you do have some people that work remotely. Okay. Very good. It sounds like hey, lots of people need help on LinkedIn. Listen, I'm Riderflex, we're a recruiting firm, right? So we recruit people and visit with candidates every day for a living. And, we see shitty LinkedIn profiles all the time.
Yeah.
So I know my point is a lot of people need help. Same with the company profiles, right? I see it all the time. And the biggest mistake I see individuals make, I guess I was going to ask you this question and I'm answering it for myself here, but I want to get your take on it as well. The biggest mistake I see from individuals is somebody between 50 and 60 years of age that had a long career, maybe 15 or 20 years at the same company, maybe another switch here or there, but they felt secure, they felt comfortable, they were in the same place for a long time. All of a sudden, they're 54 years old, 55 years old, boom, they're laid off. They haven't spent any time on LinkedIn. They've spent no time networking. They've spent no time building relationships. And then they call me and they're like, well, how do I'm going to tell them to call Kim from now on because we don't, Riderflex, we don't do that for a living. But then they're like, well, I guess I should start networking. I'm like, okay, you should have been doing that years ago.
I know. Even the terminology, how you describe what it is that you did, that oftentimes needs a facelift. And with it, I'm glad you brought that up though. The profile up level, we actually did not advertise that we did that. We were more of the marketing agency. So we were doing the,
Right.
all of the articles and all that jazz.
Right.
But that was as a result of doing the outreach that we did earlier this year. We're like, you know what, let's throw it on the webpage, because a lot of people are
Yes.
asking us. We're not even like, we do it like, oh yeah, we can do that. But we have a very sophisticated process that we go through where we do
Good.
due diligence on keywords and all of that. So the objective being, when someone Googles your name, boom, you pop up and you clearly look like the person that does XYZ. So that is really the foundational thing that needs to happen, I believe, before you start getting out there. And I agree with you. Those are the people I feel very, the engineering, healthcare, legal, operations, manufacturing. I mean, so many industries that people who you just described fall into that category, and they just are very overwhelmed. And they want to learn, and we can help them do that, but they don't want to do the whole process of leveling up their profile.
Yeah, they don't want to do it, or they don't have time, or they don't want to mess with it. Yeah, if you're listening to this episode, Linkability, I think, and talking to Kim and her team is the place to go, because they can help you get up to speed, especially if your profile is behind or outdated, or you just don't know how to market yourself or network yourself, because you said it, you got to be seen. You have to be seen. It's just like a billboard. I always tell people, I'm like, it's a billboard, man. It's just like seeing the subway billboard when you drive down the highway. I mean,
Yeah.
it's the same thing. And so many people, a lot of people need help with it. I would say, I don't know what the percentage is, but the majority of profiles on LinkedIn are not good.
Yeah.
And
Well,
the
they're
same for
doing a
the,
disservice
yes.
to the people who have put, so many years and so much effort into doing a great job at what they do. And it's just not depicting that. And they are being drowned out by people who do understand digital. Maybe they've done, their accomplishments are infinitesimally small, but they look huge digitally. There's that aspect too. So there's a lot of things going on. I did a keynote on this like in 2019 about how critical it was to stake your claim and make sure that you are present. And that was pre-pandemic. And sure enough, boy, when that hit, that there was just a flood of people saying, help, help, help. We really need help.
How about
So
biggest mistake you see company? I know this is the service you sell, so I don't want you to give away a bunch of free advice, but the biggest mistakes companies make with their company profiles, what do you think?
they don't have one. They have one incorrectly set up. One of my favorite stories is a client. They've been clients for like 4 years. They originally had their corporate page set up as a personal profile. So they're a $170 million company, or no, like a $250 million company with 170 employees, and none of them could connect with it because it was a profile, not a page. So there are certain things like with the URLs and the settings and how you have all of that, and it's incorrectly set up. So it's just not doing anything for you. So that probably is the biggest thing. And then it would be just not doing anything with it after you have it set up, not encouraging your employees to take action, not posting, not sharing things that you're already sharing someplace else. You just want to multi-purpose them on LinkedIn, just so you have that stake in the ground when people check it out. Who you are and what you're about is being clearly explained.
One of the things we do at Riderflex is if we do a company post, this is a tip maybe for the listeners. If we do a company post, we will send out a memo to the team and just say, hey, just FYI, not mandatory, of course. Your LinkedIn is your personal property. You do not have to like or share. You do not have to comment. We just FYI wanted you to know. We dropped this on the company page. If you want to share it and like it, great. If you don't want to, that's cool too. That's how we do it. I don't know what you recommend.
You can boost it on the page as well. So you can boost it directly from the page. So everybody that is connected with your company will be notified. You can also tag people. So it's a fun place to, if you do share, oh, it's Friday afternoon and we're all heading to the ball game or whatever, you can tag people from the company page. That's generally a lot more effective than sharing. Sharing generally like kills the algorithm when you share, which doesn't really make any sense. You would think that you would want that to happen, but it does kind of kill it. So they can share some of the information or create their own post to get additional visibility. You can tag them on the corporate site so they can make some comments there, and that can kind of beef things up a little bit. But LinkedIn is always paying more attention to individuals than corporations as
I
far as
see.
what is going to get visibility. So if you post something, and then if you do in that memo say, hey, here's what we're saying about this event that we've got coming up. We're going to be attending this event. It's going to be great. Da, da, da. If you want to share, great. Give them the wording and give them a couple of graphic options. Hey, if you want to post about this or whatever, go right ahead. So then they can do it from their profile and then tag the company. So
I
you
see.
may find an increase, a bump in visibility in doing it that way.
Great tip. Let me ask you a couple of things here. I know we're edging up on our time. I want to get a couple of things in here. What are your thoughts and opinions on fun type personal posts on LinkedIn? Back when LinkedIn first started, I would see people put a post up of their wife or whatever. Like I put a post up of me and Kim. We were at a campsite one time, and I was like, "Hey, taking the weekend off." Shot of me and Kim in a photo. It's one of the most liked posts I had all year.
Yeah. Yeah.
But a lot of people are like, "Oh, this is not Facebook." Blah blah blah. What are your thoughts there?
Oh my gosh. I have a love-hate relationship with all of that. You see a lot of, TikTok and Instagram and flipping it over without a whole lot of thought, right? There's just a quite, because there are certain photos of certain things that you put in, you're going to get more likes. And I don't think we need to go down that rabbit hole, but yep, there are certain things that you put a picture of it, you're going to get more likes. I always advise people, what is in alignment with your personality? What is in alignment with your brand? And what do you feel comfortable with? Don't do something that you're not comfortable. It varies wildly between industries, right? If you're in a highly competitive industry, if you are in a highly regulated industry, so there's no across the board, yes, do this, don't do that. You really do need to decide what works best for you. That being said, anything that is company wise, that even if it's something that's cute, I really don't do this personally because I'm a very private person and I really don't post about myself that much. And I know it's to my detriment and people tell me all the time I really should, but I don't. But I did this past Christmas. Brittany Carter, who was our director of operations, snuck into my office and decorated everything. Like I walked in and there was like little balls and little candy canes and she's a Christmasaholic. She loves it and she's so cute. So I came in and I just snapped a quick picture of her decorating the office and posted that on LinkedIn. So, but I felt like for me that worked. So do what works for you. I think the camping thing, that's part of your vibe. That's part of what you're all about. Your wife is there with you. That's fun. That's great. So if that works for you and if that feels good, do it.
Okay. How about this one? Here's an outside the lines question. What are your thoughts on this, the whole cancel culture and censorship and companies like LinkedIn being able to just wipe people out when they don't fit a certain narrative? What's Kim's thoughts on that?
Oh goodness. I think that innovative people always win. I think that there are workarounds. I think that people are smarter than that. So you're on rented ground in LinkedIn, right? You're on rented ground in Facebook. At any given time, they can shut the doors, they can kick you off, they can do whatever they like.
That's true.
Okay. Well, I mean, if you've been following what happened with Twitter, wow, things happen when you do that. So I think that innovation wins, and I think that people will take initiatives to work around and circumvent gatekeepers.
You mean like Elon Musk saying, "Okay, I'll just buy Twitter then, so that people can say whatever they want."
Yeah. Yeah, because you can't say, "Oh, I'm all about free speech as long as you agree with everything that I say." It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. And
it really doesn't. It really doesn't. And by the
No.
way, for the listeners, and this is not, I want to make sure Kim and I are being super clear. Not taking any sides on left or right or political or anything like that. It's just the whole like, oh, this is a free speech platform. No, it ain't.
Right.
No, it ain't.
Right.
And
I
Elon,
I
Elon
always
Musk is like, I'm just going to buy the damn thing. That's pretty funny.
I deleted Twitter for the month of April, and I picked the wrong month to delete it because I was just going too far down the rabbit hole. But I love Elon Musk, and I was following when he was doing all of his
Yeah.
tweets, asking questions about the
Yeah.
modifications that should be made. I think it can be really a force for good, and clearly it is such an incredibly powerful exchanging of information platform, as is LinkedIn. I mean, for business, it is incredibly powerful. And I think of it in terms, I want to use the technology to better mankind, better my team, better my client base. I'm not interested in having it use me.
Gotcha.
So that's kind of my positioning. And I think more people are waking up to the fact
Me
that
too. Yeah.
we do need to be more mindful and take control and do the things that we need to do to make sure that all the work that we put in is not in vain. And there's not a dictatorship that's controlling who gets to talk and who doesn't get to talk.
Good stuff, Kim. Last 2 questions here. First of all, great career, awesome experience. Love everything you're doing. Love it. Love it. Based on your life so far, if you could call the 18-year-old graduating high school and tell her anything based on what you've learned, what would you say?
Oh my gosh. You know, I I don't know that I would say anything differently because I absolutely did not listen to anyone at all. I really didn't. And so I forged a path that was rocky and challenging and risk laden
Yeah.
and interesting and informative and life shaping. I don't think that I would tell myself anything different because
Okay.
what I did, good, bad, and indifferent, led me here. I don't regret. I don't second guess. Was it messy and sloppy? Absolutely. Was it
Life
beautiful and
is.
pristine? I don't think that exists. I don't think that
Right.
it does. I think that's a fallacy. I think we all have those hairpin turns that were going around. So no, I think I would just, and that's harder though as a parent, because you don't want your child to go
True.
through all of the
Right.
the potential pitfalls. But no, I don't think that I would. I think
Okay.
I would just let her go.
Final question. Kim's core purpose in life right now, moving forward, aside from grandchildren and children and husband. Let's set that over here for a second.
Mm.
Kim's core purpose in life, aside from immediate family, what is that?
You know, I really like to help people see and experience different ways of bettering what it is that they do. How can we do this better? How can we make you more efficient, more effective, more well-rounded, more whatever it is? How can I leave that impact on the world, whether it's for young people that I mentor or it's for clients? Think outside the box and look at different ways, look at what's going on, be a critical thinker. I really am hugely passionate about that. Please don't just believe everything that's on the surface of what you are seeing. Please do research, and please. So if I can impart that with the work that I do, I'm very passionate about that. It just up levels everyone. And I really enjoy that process.
Kim, thank you so much for sharing your story and being on the Riderflex podcast. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Steve. It's been a pleasure.